Good evening and welcome to News Channel 8. I'm Jerome Aegean, and here's some of the stories we have for you tonight. Another murder on St. Thomas, your Wednesday's Crime Stoppers report, and a case of Cheech and Chong. These stories and more are up next on News Channel 8. In our top story tonight, there's been another homicide in our territory, and this time it's on St. Thomas. News Channel 8's Lee Carl has the story.
This is Wynford, the Wynford area where that shooting took place and the man died. And an investigation is underway as to what the cause of the death of this
dead man
person
was identified as James Tamu, Jr. He died Tuesday at the Snyder Hospital, taken there for treatment. He was shot shortly after midnight. The St. Thomas Deputy Chief is Dwayne DeGraff, and he said Tamu's sister told police she was in her Wynford residence. She heard gunshots outside. Her brother started crying out, said he'd been shot, called an ambulance. Woman called 911. Police and emergency medical workers responded to Tamu, who had suffered multiple gunshot wounds, taken to the hospital. He underwent treatment and then died at about 1 o'clock in the morning. Tamu's homicide is the 41st in the territory this year, the 25th on St. Thomas.
In St. Thomas, at Wynford, Lee Carl, Police Channel 8.
Thanks, Lee Carl, on St. Thomas. And it's Wednesday. That means it's time for your Crime Stoppers report. And News Channel 8's Wes Small is here to tell you how you can get an easy $1,000 in cash by identifying a woman.
Thanks a lot, Jerome. It is time for Crime Stoppers. We start on St. Croix with the Department of Justice, and they're asking for your help. $1,000 for the first person to locate this woman. She is a woman of interest who might have information regarding a criminal investigation. $1,000 in cash, no questions asked, to the first person that calls Crime Stoppers to help authorities find this woman who is pictured here. Let's move to St. John, where people have been taking advantage of senior citizens, elderly people, defrauding them of their personal property, physical health, or scheme that might lead them to pay excessive amounts for construction projects, and etc. Let's go to St. Thomas, where we have a 10 most wanted list there. Let's go to this man's picture, Giovanni Myers. He has been seen in various communities lately during the last several days. He is around 25 years of age with close cropped hair, dark complexion, approximately 175 pounds. If you see Giovanni Myers, do not apprehend or approach him. He is considered armed and extremely dangerous. If you have any tips about these cases that I previously mentioned, you need to call 1-800-222-TIPS, 1-800-222-8477. As we have our 41st homicide this week, 16 homicides past last year's rate, we definitely need to stop the violence. And like Miss Francis says, stop the hemorrhaging and stop the bleeding now. That's your Wednesday's Crime Stoppers report. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes. And a federal law officer is in trouble tonight on St. Thomas. News Channel 8's Lee Carl has more.
Meantime, since we have you on the line, there was another report from St. Thomas that a federal agent accused of severely beating another man advised of his rights in the VI Superior Court on Tuesday on charges of first-degree assault, aiding and abetting mayhem. David Christopher, 40, customs agent, arrested Monday. Warrant issued by the magistrate and Judge Alan Smith advised Christopher his rights on Tuesday. According to an affidavit in support of the warrant, Christopher is accused of assaulting a man in December and hitting him in the face with a bunch of keys protruding between his fingers, sort of like a brass knuckle. The affidavit indicates the assault stemmed from a domestic situation. Christopher and the victim had argued earlier in the night. The victim was sitting in the Havenside driveway with Christopher's wife when the assault occurred. Christopher released on a $75,000 unsecured bond, third-party custodian, and the judge found he was not a flight risk.
Thanks, Lee. Well, it seems like a movie involving Cheech and Chong, a 15-passenger van tossing out marijuana plants on the Queen Mary Highway. News Channel 8's Wes Small files this report.
This is the case of the Cheech and Chong van. All right, kind of a humorous story, but nothing's really humorous when it takes the time of officers trying to save our lives, putting their lives on the line. Deputy Chief Hal is going to explain what happened with that white van that we've been showing you there in back of us. And kind of humorous story, but again, kind of could be dangerous as well, and it involves a high-speed chase. All right, Deputy Chief, tell us, please, what happened.
Yes, Wes. On August 17th, officers at approximately 10 p.m. were in the area of Queen Mary Highway vicinity of Central High School when they encountered the van that we see behind us. The officers originally noted the van because the van pulled out in front of them, actually cut the officers off, and the officer initiated a traffic stop of the vehicle. The vehicle did pull over to the side of the road. However, upon doing so, the officer activated his spotlight and noted that the vehicle that we're seeing wasn't actually tinted, but instead was the windows were covered with garbage bags, black garbage bags. Upon seeing this, the officer ordered the occupants of the vehicle out, and upon hearing this over the PA system, the occupants accelerated and departed from the area at a high rate of speed, and a traffic chase ensued. The officers continued the chase, and actually an off-duty officer actually learned of the chase when it sped past or near his home, and he joined in the chase and actually got ahead of the chase and set up spike strips. Shortly thereafter, the original officer that encountered this van noted that the doors of the van were beginning to open and marijuana plants were beginning to be thrown from the vehicle out into the roadway. The chase continued up until the area where the officer had prepared spike strips, and as you can see, the vehicle has 3 flat tires, indicating the officer was successful in deploying the spike strips. The chase didn't go too much further, and then shortly thereafter they abandoned the vehicle and fled into the bushes area. The officers have processed this vehicle. Members of the forensics department has already had a chance to go through it and process it for forensic evidence, and it still contained a number of marijuana plants plus fertilizer and other instruments for growing marijuana. We're continuing this investigation. We have a number of leads that we're following up on, and of course we're appealing to the public if they have any additional information about this incident to either call 911 or Crime Stoppers. I'd also like to take an opportunity to commend the officers involved in this. It was a dangerous situation, and these officers did a wonderful job. Certainly the public got their money's worth out of the VIPD last night.
All right, well, there you have it. The Cheech and Chong van behind us there with garbage bags as tinted windows. Kind of funny to this reporter, but like Deputy Chief said, it's really not funny when the women in blue have to put their lives on the line, and then they're jeopardizing you on the road as well. Spike strips. I used to see them in Los Angeles and stuff like that, but I didn't know we had them in the Virgin Islands. So crooks, beware. Well, there you have it. That's the case of the Cheech and Chong van. I'm Wes Small for News Channel 8.
Thanks, Wes, and stay with us on News Channel 8. We have more news after the break.